Start with the point of your boffer. Take a standard piece of duct tape, put it to the edge. Now, what I do is I try to bring it down flat so there isn't any wrinkles in it. This will take time and practice. I guarantee you I have made literally 100 boffers with massive wrinkles. It takes time. It takes time to learn how. It takes time to really feel it. When you get to the end, cut off about an inch and a half or so of extra. This extra part will be used to anchor your blade. I use my thumb and I push down the tape until I get to the pipe, and then I lay it across the pipe. This gives me a nice sharp angle. Then I lay down the sides. When I do the next line, I try to line up my next part with the tape that I've already done. The idea is to not try to waste tape, but at the same time make sure that the entire boffer is covered. I usually lay that edge down to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. Make sure it's on secure, and then once again, very easily and slowly, this isn't a race in any way, shape, or form, lay down the edgings. Once again, with the thumb, push it down. Bring the edges in tight. Now, grab it here and squeeze. That'll help give it a nice, easy edge. Now that you've taken your boffer and completely covered it all the way around, by the way, only one layer. I've seen people go, oh yes, we'll do 3, 4, 5, 10, 12 layers, and it will make it more heavy and dense, and then I can really wallop you. Yeah, and unfortunately it also takes away from the squishiness and the give, which is the whole point of the padding. So one layer should do you just fine. Now, the edge piece for the tip is relatively simple. Straight to the point. I usually take a piece, rip it in half. Once again, tape ripping is a skill it'll take a little while to get used to. Flatten it with your hand here first, then take the edge and pull it down tight. Pull it down tight. Use the other half to do a cross section. Pull it down tight. Pull it down tight. Alright. Now, some people are like, well, I don't like ripping my duct tape. It makes jagged edges. Scissors. It's an amazing thing. Do this over and over and over. Now you cover the corner pieces. You should be able to do it within 4 strips. Depending on the size, that will change. And you know what? If it takes you 6, if it takes you 7 strips to make sure it's all the way covered, then it takes you 6 or 7, and that's no big deal whatsoever. Once the end is secured, the next step is to do a wrap around the edge. This secures all the pieces. This is tricky and will take you 3 or 4 tries sometimes to lay it down exactly even with this so it doesn't start going up diagonally. It stays along the edge level with the end of the boffer. And you know what? It's duct tape. If you get it wrong, that's no big deal. You can always do it again. You know, that's one of the great things about making these things, is often people only see the finished product. They don't see that I used a little bit too much here. Oh no. It's gone. Now, your blade is completed. But we have to take care of this. Now, what I personally suggest to use is electrical tape. Use the same electrical tape that you were using before to mark off the edges. You'll notice that the way that you laid it down, the tape, that these edges right here are coming up a little bit, and there isn't much that you can do about that unless I'll make sure that you get a clean shot of this. The idea is to make it as tight as you can. Stretch the tape just a little bit as you pull down, and go around once or twice. It doesn't really matter. Once again, that's preference. So that you've made it so that there's no extra pieces sticking up, and it won't be sticking to your hand. Okay, now I've got one side done. Now, from this point this way, do the exact same thing with the other side, using a different color. I personally suggest black, but you can use red, blue, green. Alright, I use blue. Now both sides are done. The next step is making the hilt. Cut 2 pieces of blade foam. The same, often this foam will have this little bit of tape that underneath it is sticky. I personally suggest just cutting those pieces off. Alright, you take the pieces and you lay them about where the hilt will go. And you lay down as many pieces as it takes to get the whole thing. Now, there's a little bit of gap here. So you cut a small little piece the size that fits the gap. Now you know how much you're working with. Take these 3 pieces, and that's all you need to work with for now. What you're doing is taking these 2 pieces and you're taping them together. Then you just start going around. Pull it out a little, pull it out open like this with your hand. Alright, to get some of a flat surface. And start going all the way around. Once you get the whole thing taped up, take it and put it around the handle. Now, this last little bit is tricky because you have to do it on an edge so you can get it onto the thing. But at the same time, you need to make sure that it's extremely anchored. Once you do that, you just grab the ring and pull it up onto the blade. As so. And now, your tape is going to make these big, horrible, terrible looking white lines. It does that because the tape is stretching. Now, as if this were the width of the boffer blade that you did earlier, you lay down a piece of tape, you use your thumb, keep that a good angle, bring it down to the pipe, lay it down. Do this all the way around this new area. Once you've completed going all the way around, the next step, once again, is anchoring it. Once again, you're going to take the tape and you're going to pull it, make it stretch so it's very tight. Go all the way around so that stays in place while you take care of the next step. Now that you've done that, the final step, which is the handle. Always do the handle first. The handle is mainly an aesthetic to help hide all of the anchor work that you've been doing. Well, here you go. Here's a brand new boffer made. If you do have any extra questions, write me. Talk to me. I'll be more than happy to try to help you. This is Will Gray 42 from the Knights of Gray. Good luck. Good fighting. Peace. Love.